the game can see the boxing voice.
Welcome back, gang, for the first time and hopefully many more to come. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and click on the notifications right here, this little bell, so you can get those emails every time we
How's it going? It's Ron from ThaBoxingvoice. I'm here with Tim Smith. How's it going?
It's going.
Why are you looking at me like this?
Because you always think I know something and I don't know anything.
No, I just wanted to come over and talk. Look.
Okay.
Actually, matter of fact, I was watching the old Roy Jones video against John Ruiz. He had this whole build up.
Yes.
And guess who I saw in there?
You saw Roy Jones and John Ruiz?
And I saw you.
No, you
yes,
did not.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
You were in there, you were talking about the fights and yada yada. And
yeah.
So, this is pretty cool. You were originally a writer.
I used to be somebody, yeah.
You still are.
No.
All right, how about this? For the fans or people who don't know you, could you tell us a little bit what you do now?
I'm the Vice President of Communications for Haymon Boxing.
So for the internet and how they run for stuff like that, does that mean you are Al Haymon's secret left-hand man, or?
I am left-handed, but I'm not Al Haymon's left-hand man.
Just joking. But I just wanted to talk with you, obviously get your opinion on certain things.
Okay.
Deontay Wilder seemed to be in the possibility of fighting Tyson Fury. Sure enough, that fight didn't happen for obvious reasons. They wanted to take the fight elsewhere. What does Deontay Wilder do now at this point? Do you guys have certain fighters lined up?
He's going to go fishing.
Fishing.
Yeah, he's going to take a deep sea fishing trip. What do you think let me ask you this. What do you think he does now?
Well, I think there's options like people saying Dominic Brazil is probably going to be the most logical one. Dillian White has been floated out there.
Yeah.
Has Dillian White been in talks with maybe trying to get that?
I don't know. He's out there.
He's out there.
Luis Ortiz is out there.
So Luis Ortiz, the rematch.
You know, any number of guys are out there. Joe Joyce is out there. I mean, look.
So Joe Joyce and Wilder is a possibility?
Anything's a possibility. I mean, look, here's the thing. There is a whole world of heavyweight boxers out there that are available to him that he could fight. So he's not limited by what someone else says or what someone else does. He has options, so he can do whatever he wants to do. I don't understand how people want to limit him to a couple of options when he has a world of options.
The reason why I think is because like the theory of like the best fight the best, and they feel that Anthony Joshua, who has some of the belts, Tyson Fury, who used to have the belts and had a very great, fight with Deontay Wilder.
And what are those guys doing? Last I checked, Deontay Wilder in 2018 fought Luis Ortiz, who everybody says is at least one of the top 5 heavyweights in boxing. And he fought Tyson Fury, who I think everybody thinks is in the top 3 or 4 or 5 in boxing. This man has fought the last 2 fights have been against guys that are at least consensus top 5 heavyweights in the world. In the interim, what are the other guys who are claiming to be top 5 in the world doing? I don't know. He wanted to make a rematch. It didn't happen for all the reasons that have been reported that are out there. So I don't get how any of this is Deontay Wilder's issue. He wants to make fights against people that are the best, and he proved last year that he was, willing to do that. The guy was willing to go to Russia to fight Alexander Povetkin before Povetkin, had his issues with chemical enhancements. He offered Anthony Joshua $50 million to come to America to make a unification fight. That, for whatever reason, I don't know the particulars behind that. For whatever reason, that was rejected, and now, Anthony Joshua is coming to America to do something else. So now America is appealing to him all of a sudden for whatever reason. But Deontay Wilder has a world of options, and the one thing that I admire about Deontay Wilder is he's not afraid to get in a ring against anyone, and when he gets into the ring, it's an intriguing and exciting match. He's probably one of the few heavyweights in the sport where he's got you on the edge of the seat. You don't know whether he's going to get knocked out or he's going to knock somebody out. You know, and as a fan of the sport, that's what you want. You want some intrigue. You want, you know, since Mike Tyson left the game, you know, nobody's knocking guys out with any kind of proficiency except, Deontay Wilder.
Well, some people can argue Joshua, when you look at their records, you know, similar amount of knockouts. Maybe the fashion is not always exactly the same.
You know, style points are different, but I mean, look, whatever taste you have, you know, I don't get into style points or how it looks or whatever, but I just think that Deontay's probably the most exciting heavyweight that's out there. And am I prejudiced? Yeah, because I work with the guy. I like him. You know.
Could I get your honest opinion on one thing?
No, you can get my dishonest opinion on something, but go ahead.
No worries. So I saw Eddie Hearn yesterday over at the Canelo and Jacobs, and you know, he mentioned that he would be interested on pretty much getting a 2-fight deal, essentially be a 3-fight deal, because there'll be a rematch if he fought Joshua on that deal. But he would offer $15 million for Deontay Wilder to fight on his platform of whoever pickings of his choice on Dazn. Granted, there's been talks that Dazn is now throwing money into the pots, mixing up a little bit too, for whatever money that Matchroom doesn't do. And that's talks of how Jarrell Miller and Danny Jacobs got some of their purses.
What do you want my opinion on?
Well, is that something where Deontay Wilder you think is going to entice, or are you just going to be like, no?
I can't speak to that. I don't negotiate Deontay's deals. I mean, I talk to Deontay. I know how he feels, and you know, I'm not privy to talk about our private conversations. Obviously, you would want to talk to Deontay about that. Just generally, though, I just find it always curious when someone is always coming forward to try to give someone something that they don't want or need. Deontay Wilder can make his own fights. He can make his own money. And, you know, I just...
Because everyone insinuates...
Why is I think the larger question for everybody to ask is, why do they feel like they have to be so benevolent toward Deontay Wilder? Why is it, oh, I will give you a 3-fight deal, or I will give you a 5-fight deal, or I will give you a 6-fight deal? Deontay Wilder has a world of heavyweights in front of him where he doesn't necessarily have to sign with someone to do that. He's got the freedom to go and do whatever he wants to do. Why is everybody always trying to put some handcuffs on my man? I mean, that's the thing I don't understand. Why are you trying to loop my man into some long-term deal for? I mean, I understand what it is, and I think we all understand what it is. But I think as journalists, you sort of have to ask the question: why are you trying to loop my man into some long-term kind of situation and lock him down and put handcuffs on him?
Yeah, because we spoke to him a couple of days ago, and he likes the idea of being a free agent. When he said doesn't want to just be tied down, like you said, even though he has loyalty, you know, he hasn't fought elsewhere, but just the freedom to do what he wants, as he wants, regardless of, you know, whatever circumstance.
Which all of us do. I mean, you know, if all things are equal, I'd rather have my freedom, you know, and I think all of us would rather have our freedom, the ability to call our own shots, the ability to do whatever we want to do, and, you know, not necessarily have someone else calling those shots for us. Because, you know, once you lock yourself into working with somebody and it's an ironclad deal, they could say, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not giving you that. I'm going to give you this instead. And what are you going to do? Because contractually you're bound to do whatever it is that they say. And I think everybody wants their freedom, you know, and I think boxers are sort of finally understanding that they can have the freedom that they want to call their own shots. And I think they like that. You know, I think a guy like Mikey Garcia likes the freedom of being able to determine his future, determine his legacy, and to go out and, you know, call his own shots and do his own thing, and, you know, and to be able to look back on his career and say, you know, mistakes are not mistakes. I did it, you know, in the old Frank Sinatra song, I did it my way. I did it the way I wanted to do it. And this is what guys have always fought for. You know, Oscar De La Hoya fought for that himself when he left, you know, Top Rank. You know, Floyd Mayweather fought for the same thing when he left Top Rank. Miguel Cotto later in his career fought for the same thing when he, decided he didn't want to sign a long-term deal. But then, he went back and signed for particular fights, with different promoters. But he had the flexibility and the freedom to do that. And I think you're looking at a generation of fighters now that sort of see that they don't have to be locked down to do the things that they want to do in their careers, and they have options.
So my question, and we don't have to speak on the Deontay situation particularly, just because I know you've been around boxing. So, seeing that the landscape now seems that there's a group of talented fighters, let's say champions and unifications, on one side of the park, and they sign with promoters and contracts with networks and stuff, and they choose it for their reasons, not saying they're bad. Then you get a group of other individuals who rather choose their own freedom and have their own way. And at that point, the pot doesn't mix, because the other side, normally, like maybe Miguel Cotto's case or something, like you can't get the fight with Miguel Cotto unless you sign with Golden Boy. Things like that, where then that person who's there, some people say maybe Terrence Crawford can't get some of the welterweight fights because of he's with Top Rank and they don't mix with the free agencies of certain fighters at 147, like maybe an Errol Spence. He has his own promotional company. What can help get these fights as fight fans closer to these
I have no idea. I can't speak to that.
It's crazy, right?
I don't think it's crazy. I think people have created their own sandboxes, as it were. Like kids have their own sandboxes, and there are some kids that only want to play in their own sandbox. They don't want other kids to come and play in their sandbox. I just know from our standpoint, from the PBC standpoint, we have sent fighters to fight other people. Amir Khan, when he fought Canelo.
Yep. He was able to do that.
Julio Cesar Chavez when he fought Canelo. John Molina Jr. fought Terrence Crawford. Felix Diaz fought Terrence Crawford. They were all under, the PBC banner when they went over and made those fights. Now,
was that the fighters that were wanting to go, or
it doesn't matter. They were free to do that. Now, I haven't seen anyone else come over to fight. Anybody from any other company come over to fight anybody else from the PBC. I haven't seen that, but I've seen it going the other way. I've seen the river flow the other way. I haven't seen it flow toward us. So I guess my question is, why does Errol Spence need to flow that way? Why can't my man flow this way? That's my only question. That's my only question.
You bring your point. I can't.
I don't get that.
Yeah,
because like I said, I've seen the river flow that way. I haven't seen it flow back the other way, and that's my only question. Is everybody always asks, well, why can't Spence go over there? Well, why can't my man go over here? So
with that, more likely, then a lot of these fights might have co-promotion deals. Then maybe if they're not willing to come to your side, the PBC side, granted. Mayweather Pacquiao, co-promotion deal. If they're not willing to come over here, and not saying that you guys haven't went over there, because you just proved cases that you have, the most likely thing is just working out good promotional deals that meet both parties. And
that's above my pay grade, but yeah, it sounds reasonable. And I think I covered boxing for a long time, and this is the one thing that I know about boxing. This is the one thing that I know about life. If people want to do things, and you have two people that want to do something and they're both equally committed to doing something or getting it done, it'll get done. That's the one thing I know about life. That's the one thing I know about business. If there's something that two people want to do, it'll get done.
Well, look, I appreciate you giving me the time in the interview. Look, I'm excited to see this fight, Laura King Kong, this Saturday.
I think this Saturday night card, I think it's a sleeper kind of card. I really do. I think it's like one of those cards, and like you were talking about my history in boxing.
Yes.
I remember once when I was writing for the New York Times, I stopped. I had gone out to interview Oscar De La Hoya at Big Bear, and I stopped on the way back to New York. I stopped in Vegas for a little tiny fight between Eric Morales and Marco Antonio Barrera.
Oh,
The very first
wow.
fight. And I remember talking to my boss, and he was like, "Why are you going to that fight?" And I said, "I don't know. It's an interesting fight. It's Mexico versus Mexico, and it's it's an interesting little fight." And he was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever. Go ahead. Stop, write something." Unbelievable fight. And it was the very first fight in the in their round robin or whatever.
So granted, I was just a kid at that time. When that happened, there wasn't a lot of tension.
No, nobody cared about that. I mean, it was a Mexican fight. It was the old Mexican fight,
yes.
right? And there were boxing fans that were interested, and there were Mexican boxing fans that were interested, but in the mainstream, no one cared about that fight.
Because I grew up hearing about the trilogies and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was at that age where like Manny Pacquiao was kind of like
Yeah.
finishing them off.
Yeah.
But so the first one just had no attention, and then what it became.
Unbelievable fight. Unbelievable
Wow.
fight. The same thing with Gaddy and Ward.
Yes,
Going up to Connecticut to see that. Not a really high profile fight, but I'm telling you, sometimes in boxing, it's the things that people don't concentrate on that turn out to be like the best fights. And that's why I like fights that sneak up on people, because you can hear people, "Oh, that's a horrible show, that's terrible, it's not going to do this." And I think a lot of times journalists have gotten so caught up in the business side of it that they don't necessarily follow the sport, of what actually could occur in the ring. They don't spend a lot of time with the boxers in terms of going to the gym and seeing them work out and getting inside of what they do. The nuts and bolts of it. And I think this entire show is going to be a nuts and bolts kind of show for boxing fans.
Well, look, I appreciate you giving me knowledge. Anytime I talk to you, I'm gonna throw something.
No, we always have fun. I joke with you,
I know.
but we always have
but
fun.
something historical, because I like to learn things as well before my time or when I was a kid. So
I know I'm an old guy now. I'm an old dinosaur now.
Like
but
I said,
it's fun though.
I just went through all Roy Jones fights, and then I saw you pop in there, and so I was like, I have to. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No problem. Anytime.
If you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive, from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.